Hey guys, so welcome to Art for this week. This week we are going to be working on a project that involves shading and value. It is a lesson that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers by Lauren Bohrman. I've modified it slightly for you guys, but we're going to be practicing more those skills that we did last week with shading and value and trying to create this really cool three-dimensional looking object down here. Let's get started. Student goals. Students will be able to use value to make 2D shapes look three-dimensional. So again, we're going to take these squares and triangles and try to use shading to make them look 3D. Also, students will demonstrate patience and creativity in the creation of their project. If you guys have time, definitely check out this really fantastic video from KQED. We did one last week on value. This one this week is on form. Definitely recommend you guys check it out just because it talks a little bit more about the difference between what shape is versus what form is, which is what we're doing this week. So again, quick review. What is value again? Remember, value in art is the shades and tones in a value scale from white to black. So if we look up here, we have absolute white, absolute black, and we've got all these shades in between. Value helps us make 2D objects appear more lifelike or three-dimensional, and colors also have value scales. So again, we can add white to colors to turn them into tints, or we can add black into colors to turn them into tones. Let's jump into your project now. Hey guys, so before we get started, you're going to need a few things. You will need a sheet of paper, something to make a straight line with. You'll need a pencil, preferably one that has an eraser on it. If you don't, a regular old eraser works. And then I'm going to give you guys the option. If you've been having a pretty easy time making art, it could be fun to try to do this with colored pencils as well. Otherwise, working with a regular old pencil totally works. Also, please don't forget you do need to have a photo of yourself holding your work when you're done, just because this is definitely a project that you probably could find on the internet. Spoiler alert. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, well, there's two things we can do. If you want to make sure you do this perfectly, you can get your paper. I know it might be easier to work with a square. By the way, if you're someone who likes to make stuff like cootie catchers, this is a really easy way, or origami. It's a really easy way to make your paper into a square. I'm gonna get my paper and I'm just gonna fold over a corner until the edge of it lines up, and then I'm going to crease it down. And now my paper should be a perfect square. I'm going to get a pencil and I'm just going to very carefully just define those edges a little bit more. Whoops, now I see why it was good to fold it in the diagonals. Oh, Miss Rosas, we are just learning as we go, aren't we? It's okay. It's not perfect, but that's all right. So now that we have these shapes done, what we're going to try to do is look at that example image that we have. So if we look at the value scale, this part up here is kind of like a dark gray. The part right here is dark gray as well. And then we have like really light gray here, really light gray there, medium gray here, medium gray here. So we're just gonna try shading. So if you have a mechanical pencil, that totally works. What works better though, quite honestly, is a wooden pencil if you have one, which I totally do. Also, if you guys have drawing pencils, pencils like 4B tend to have darker lead. If you have something that's like 2B or not to be, our teacher joke, that works just as well. So I'm going to start up here in this box, and I'm going to try to just really lightly, I'm actually going to use the edge of my pencil. Take your time shading each box. The goal is that you'll have different tones between super light gray, medium light, medium dark, and a lot darker, just so you know. If you have something like a Q-tip or a tortillon or a blending stump, you can help blend out some of those pencil lines as you're shading to try to get that effect. And honestly, you guys, I don't expect perfection. I know that shading is really challenging for some of us to do, and I just really want to have you guys try. If you want to use color, you'll do the same thing you did before, which is go light, medium dark, and then dark by blending and layering up those colors. Just so you know, I'm using Prismacolors in this demonstration, which is a lot easier to use. So I'm using like a light blue, I'm blending that with my darker blue, and then I'm using darker blue and black, and then just dark blue on its own. So again, if you want to try using color, it works a lot easier with paint, but you're welcome to try. To upload a photo of yourself when you're done, and try to do this at least 4 times. Good luck!